People talk about with music is that it's like a universal language and that music helps you understand everything. It's not a universal language. There are many, many different languages, and sometimes you don't understand, and that's okay too. It's not a magic language that lets you speak to someone, no. But sometimes it's a nice introductory point to say, hey, I'm a musician too. I'm a musician first and then a composer, and then when I was studying composition in college at university in America, I got interested in Eastern European music, and that led me to ethnomusicology to study the music itself, and that made me realize that, you know, music is a great access point to learning about all these different places. I started researching the music from these different places in the Caucasus, and Georgian polyphony especially I was really interested in. So I came in 2012 and started studying at the Tbilisi State Conservatory, learned chonguri and learned other instruments. But then I stayed because the music scene here, music in general, was such a important part of everyday life in all these different ways, and all of those ways interested me. So I could do my field recordings, I could go to clubs and listen to music, I could, you know, improvise with different musicians. We say phrases like ethnic music, but all music has ethnicity. Like, there's no such thing as non-ethnic music, because music is made by people, and it's always, I mean, maybe there are exceptions now that you have computer-generated music, but in general, all music is ethnic music. Music does tell a story about people and helps you get to know about a culture or different cultures. I think I probably have the closest connection to Tusheti, but not even Tusheti, the villages of Zemalavani and Kormalavani. And that's kind of a special place for me because music in Georgia is dominated primarily by polyphony and polyphonic singing. And as a result of this, it's for a good reason, because it's really interesting music, but also as a result of this dominance, you don't hear instrumental music as much. And actually, like the Gianuri players in Zemalavani, the Garmoni players, Salamuri players that we recorded, I hadn't heard that much of this instrumental music, and it was uniquely Tushetian as well. Balalaika as well. Balalaika was also rejected kind of by many scholars because it has Russian origins, but actually these were musicians playing Tushetian songs on balalaikas, and because it had this connotation, it wasn't polyphonic music and it wasn't a Georgian instrument, it was just kind of ignored. And we made these recordings, and they're some of my favorites still. One of the difficulties with preserving folk music, ethnic music, not just in Georgia, but all around the world, very often traditional music, folk music, ethnic music is often taken by political powers or political parties and used as a symbol of national heritage. So many times those in charge, in a way, take the music and they say, okay, this is Georgian music, or this is Azeri music, or this is Armenian music. And when young creative people hear this music, they start to associate it with like waving flags and people in chokhas and all this stuff, when there's nothing wrong with chokhas, but it has a certain connotation for younger people that are creative and trying to do creative things. And it's not the music's fault, really, because not all the music is about how great the country is or how conservative the values are. They can be very, very flexible, but unfortunately these powers and these political powers, they recognize that it's very valuable to use this music in this way. A younger generation of people see music in the corner of politics and in the corner of conservative values, so they don't touch it and they don't experiment with it and they don't do anything with it whatsoever. So what I've tried to do, and I try to do in my own music, is study that music in depth, but remove it from that context. So try to find ways of removing, because that music doesn't just exist in that context, it's very flexible. So remove that music from just a political context, and try to make something new and something creative with it. So I will look at, for example, Georgian polyphony, some Gurian songs, for example. I will take the 4-part harmony, and I will do a structural analysis and look at the melodies and how the harmonies work. Take that out of the context and then write something on guitar or something on synthesizer that uses similar structures. The idea of 4 notes delving off in different positions and finally coming to a unison at the end. I might not use exactly the Georgian harmonies, but I will take that general concept that I was inspired by this music and apply it to my own experimental music. And then it shows I'm not doing a cover of a Gurian folk song. I'm not trying to stay completely pure to the song, but the music influences the structures, the deeper structures of music I will use in experimental compositional context. And then I try to teach that to other people, so it's like a gateway drug almost. Like they get interested in the music because they're like, oh, I can steal something from this and I can use it. And then they're like, oh wait, this is really special. I need to help preserve this. I need to help promote this music as well. I need to work with local musicians from those contexts. Maybe I can improvise with them or do something together. And through this, it removes the music from that context and it creates something new and something experimental and exciting. So you have appreciation for the music and it gets freed a little bit from this one corner that it's stuck in, which I think is a really common problem, not just in Georgia, but like all over the world. So.